right, quiet on set. 3, 2.
Hello, and welcome to Spotlight Features Screen Awards. Our mission is to provide a platform for diverse voices that reflect what's going on in your community. Today we bring you best-in-class stories of 2022 that touched us, moved us, and make us proud of who we are as Canadians. The Spotlight Screen Awards was created 4 years ago as an opportunity to recognize the outstanding work of our talented community television producers. The winners from each category were chosen by a panel of industry experts, and this year we're sharing the results with you. Every feature we celebrate in today's show starts with a compelling story, and more than that, one that translates through video. A story with a clear purpose whose character progresses through the narrative with an effective story arc that connects emotionally with the audience.
In Juvenile, from 19 to 29 or 31, I was in and out of Nanaimo Correctional Center. I was bad, and I'd just like to spread the knowledge that it can happen, that someone like myself that was dead deep into it and dedicated and vowed to never, ever, ever make a change, I've done it.
It's important for people to remember exactly what happened here. And the only way to do it is build structures and parks like this to display what had actually happened.
There were lots of times where she didn't come home until early hours. Some days she wouldn't even come home at all. I'd rather know that she was dead than not know where she was at all. That was where it was at points.
You know, I put 110% into using. I would do whatever I had to get my next fix, to get my next drink. I would do whatever I had to do, so why wouldn't I put 110% into my recovery?
Talented storyteller Nancy Wilmot from Vancouver Island authentically connects with her characters on a human level, building trust and confidence, enabling her to connect with those in her community. Nancy delighted judges with her story about Kenneth Joe and how the people of Port Alberni rallied behind him on his journey.
Most of my teenage years I was in juvie, and then from 19 to 29 or 31, I was in and out of Nanaimo Correctional Center. I was bad, and I'd just like to spread the knowledge that it can happen, that someone like myself that was dead deep into it and dedicated and vowed to never, ever, ever make a change, I've done it. Eight years ago, I started asking. It was the same spool. My name is Kenneth Joe. I'm here because I've got no job. I've been out all morning handing out resumes. Do you have pop cans, beer cans, or anything like that you can spare? They would say no, or they would give me a bag. Then I would say, may I please ask if I can bother you to rake your leaves, wash your dishes, scrub your floor. It took me 2 to 3 hours to gather up the courage to knock on a door because it felt embarrassing to do that.
But embarrassing or not, Kenny did it, and he wasn't surprised when he was met with suspicion, like when one person took to social media to warn about a suspicious-looking man in the neighborhood.
I came home and I responded right away to that post, explaining I'm knocking on your door because times are tough. I can't get a job with UHS. I can't get one with Mainstream. I've handed out McDonald's, Timmy's everywhere here in town. I'm not here, I'm an ex-gangbang member, yes, I'm an alcoholic, I'm a drug addict, but I was not at your door for that reason.
Something unexpected happened when Kenny shared his story. People began to notice and to follow him, and the more support he got, the more he wrote about his addictions, his family, and his dreams.
I was just perusing my Facebook in the morning and his name popped up and he had written some stuff about his life and I just started reading it and got quite fascinated. I've been following him every post he makes now and I'm just so encouraged that he's having good opportunities come his way.
Kenneth's posts are often brutally honest, and they become an inspiration to people he's never even met.
What he's done is rediscover himself. You know, it's that self-love, self-worth, which then gives him the ability to come out and work as he does. He spoke to me in terms of where he started and where he is now. Everyone gets another chance.
It feels good to be able to to share it. Because again, it shows someone out there, maybe they're reading, someone down in the hood reading it. You know, someone, there's even up here in the fancy houses of the world, there's someone who feels like they're down there. And I know that there's somebody out there reading it and I hope that it helps.
It's kind of like a celebrity, a fan, I guess. You kind of look at his posts and see what he's up to and it's contagious, right? So even when he's seen negative comments, he's always apologized and explained his point of view and then leaves it at that. And that's what I admire about him so much. He doesn't get knocked down.
Oh, I've had clients that, you know, oh, can he joke? And his name comes up and they don't know him, but they know him.
It's been a few years now since Kenny knocked on that first door, and between his work ethic and social media presence, he's gained quite a following in this community, and nobody is more surprised by that than Kenneth Joe.
I grew up thinking nobody around here would want to help. This is what I've learned about Port Alberni. This is the biggest heart in this world, this town. It's the biggest reason I'm giving back in ways of positiveness and sharing my story. I don't know how else I can give back to a community that's given me so much, that I've taken so much from.
You know, I just loved putting this story together with Kenneth Joe. I had seen him around, always wearing his orange vest, and I hadn't really thought much about it until a friend of mine, Marina Connor, who was in the feature, approached me and said, "You've got to do a story with Kenneth Joe." So I looked him up on Facebook, and from that first time that we met, he was just so honest and genuine and determined to tell his story in the hopes that it might inspire somebody else who was in that dark place with addictions that he had been. And more than anything, it just reminded me that everybody has a story, and we are so privileged to be able to tell those stories.
Crafting a complementary mix of audio and visual elements for a compelling story is a tricky art. An outstanding editor brings the skills needed that capture the elements into the most dynamic tapestry, which serves the story best.
If you think having 140 scorches and over 200 dragons in total is a lot, then maybe you'd think that's weird.
The day that we have too many dragons, we're probably just going to be buying a bigger house. Can I get a muffin?
Okay, yeah.
Thanks. The dragons are definitely forever for us. You gotta share. Take a turn. No, hey.
It's tremendous the amount of history that has come through here. And we have some of the best, oldest historical sites in this area. and most people don't know they even exist. It's important, it's very important that we maintain it and tell the story.
I was there lying down for an hour and a half before the ambulance came to me.
He's one of my best friends in the whole world, so it was terrifying. That is not something you're prepared for, ever.
I was thinking I'm not going to be able to DJ or make music again.
When this winning feature, Not Forgotten, was being edited, Fort McMurray producer Matt Lorenz had numerous revisions before all the elements came together to demonstrate excellence through cinematic sequencing and sound design.
Oh, look at this, Chad. Looks like two steam pistons off of stern wheeler. You look at that stuff and you think, how did it get there? Like, why would it be there? I would always be coming out of the house, and you had no choice but to look at the boats on the ways, and you could hear the trains and the working of them yarding the boxcars and the freight cars, and there was activity going on all the time. It was always interesting as a young person. You'd always look over and you'd see it all, and it was always close to me. To see it all go and have nothing here at all, I think it would have been really sad for McMurray.
Due to advancements in infrastructure and highway expansions, the once thriving Fort McMurray shipyard was decommissioned in 1996, after over 70 years of service to northern Canada.
I had heard they were going to either sell the ships or scrap them, but they would be definitely leaving Fort McMurray. I thought, you know, once they're gone, I guess they're gone forever. We'll never see them again or have the likes of them around. And I felt that we could organize something somehow, somewhere to keep them and put them on display. I was a member of the Fort McMurray Historical Society, and I brought it to the board's attention at one meeting one time, and most of the board members felt the same, and it just proceeded from there. All of a sudden we ended up with some ships, and next thing we had to do is, well, where are we going to put them?
Over the next several years, Torchy and hundreds of volunteers worked to create the heritage shipyard as we see it today. The team continues to preserve historically relevant artifacts whenever they can.
While we're looking at some artifacts, possibly artifacts belonging to the marine part of the shipping of this area, either modern or very, very old. It's hard to say at this point, but it's definitely old. There's a tremendous amount of rust.
Well, I'll see if I can find anything in our records that kind of matches any kind of description of this. Otherwise, I can put it on a database, see if anybody knows what it is, and then we can go from there and kind of research more on what it could have been and when it went missing, or when it was abandoned.
Yeah, I get a good picture. I can't see any numbers. We don't find stuff very often. It's rare. It's tremendous the amount of history that has come through here. And we have some of the best, oldest historical sites in this area. And most people don't know they even exist. It's important, it's very important that we maintain it and tell the story.
So we took a bunch of photos of the artifact in question here. Then we sent them off to an internal network through all the museums in Alberta. We actually got confirmation from that as well. It's looking like it's a steam engine part to the paddle wheelers that used to run along the clear water. So we're actually going to go ahead and take that out and bring it to the shipyard, and it'll be part of our collections from here on out.
Well, it's going to get dark here, so we should get her out of here anyway.
Do we got to get that out of there?
Well, what we're doing today is we're going to pull it out and try and secure it, get it out of the water, away from the mud, and the possibility of it freezing in if it stays cold and we don't do nothing with it. Yeah, we don't want to pull it apart from the crack. We're a little bit concerned here, but once we get it moving, we'll see what happens. I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, we'll get everybody up the hill, and then maybe just one person stay here, and then one person halfway up just to flag me. Now suck her up.
She's coming. Take her up.
See her there, Leonard?
You know, you don't have history. You have nothing. What do you tell from the past?
Good job.
It's important for people to remember exactly what happened here. And the only way to do it is build structures and parks like this to display what had actually happened. I talked to my friends that helped me, and they're still around today, and yeah, we're all happy it's here, and I hope the people of McMurray are too. It's just been one of the greatest things, I think, ever. I can't describe it other than that.
Yeah, so in Not Forgotten, one of the things that was really interesting was the story you saw was not what it was going to be originally. Originally, we just went out with Torchy, and he was going to show us what the shipyard used to be, and we were going to compare it to the heritage shipyard that you would see today. But while we were out on the river, we found the artifact that you saw in the piece, and it completely changed our story. We had to pivot to that because it was happening right now, and it was really an interesting thing to do. So it changed the edit like completely because you can't use what we had just shot and kind of mix it in. It had to like completely be redone. So sometimes you got to be a little bit flexible when you're editing and shooting at the same time. So it was really fun, and I think it turned out really good.
The creative use of visuals brings us to Best Cinematography. This category demonstrates finesse in shooting visuals with effective use of lighting and composition.
It's a regular thing for me. And even before I lived here, I'd find the nature places, you know, and it would, if it's regular, you sort of almost take it for granted, right? Oh, go for a walk in the woods, walk in the park, go to the garden, right? And then you walk away from it feeling good. But if you're in touch, you remember, yeah, I'm really feeling good and I'm grateful, you know.
And I looked it up and like, yeah, they're putting in this world-class lighting system all over the site being controlled by a top-of-the-line computer. And I thought, well, I am going to try and convince them to let me program this. I've been playing with lights in outdoor situations for quite some time now, and it's really nice to be in an urban environment with lots of traffic that, again, we can play with colors. We can have people just drop by and go, oh, look at that, and maybe sit for a minute or two.
If I didn't join football, I definitely wouldn't be here where I am right now. My coach definitely helped me a lot through a lot of things, and I definitely wouldn't be who I am and where I am today if it wasn't for him.
Producer Matt Lorenz discovered his inner athlete when he found himself keeping up with players on the football field to give audiences the ultimate front row experience. He was able to create dynamic shots that were motivated, had intention, and effectively set the tone for this next feature because of the game.
Yeah, gotta aim for the top like, hold up, yeah, I can never doubt myself, I know better. All of you critics be acting like you know better. Blowing the smoke, but I know when the dust settles that I'm in my element. It's evident that there's levels to the game.
I was the photographer for the Northern Spirits, and we went down for a football game of I think the last week of August.
We're playing in a 9-person league. It was supposed to be a co-ed league, but we're the only team with girls.
Everyone was getting hurt, and a lot of people were getting injured and tired, and just a normal football game. And
it was a lot. So I think we were down to 9. We had no subs. So that's when I had to look at Alicia and say, hey, I'm gonna need you to come in the game.
And I was like, no, I do not want to go on. I was crying. I was like, I think he just looked at me. He's like, we really need you. Can you get on, please?
And this was funny because I didn't really realize she had spent that whole high school season with me, filming and doing everything for that whole team. I didn't realize how much knowledge she was absorbing. So when she went out there, it was just came so natural.
Then I went on, got suited up, didn't know what the hell to do. And then I literally asked my friend Sky, I was like, what do I do? And she said, tackle a person with the ball. And 1 or 2 plays later, I tackled someone with the ball. And ever since that, I loved it. I'm Alicia. I'm captain of defense for the Northern Spirits. It's the first on-girls Indigenous football team in Canada, and that's factual. And we're a team of 18 girls, mainly from Mackay. There's some from town, and we have other Indigenous people from different communities playing with us, which is also really cool to bring all the communities together.
Fort Mackay is a First Nations reservation about an hour north of Fort McMurray, so it's really isolated. There's about 500 people who live in the community.
I grew up in a home of seven siblings with a single mom, so it was definitely hard to even get into sports. But to have a team in Mackay does mean a lot, and it's way easier, and I think a lot of us.
You're talking about kids who want to try new things. It's tough if you don't always have the means to get back and forth. We offer what we can out there, but it's still tricky when you want to play team sports.
Being a teenage girl is just difficult, and being in a small reserve, being limited to certain things can have a big effect on that. Football to me was a way to express my emotions and anger.
I think when you introduce a sport like football, there's a whole group of kids who never really felt athletic or never really felt like they could participate in sport. And all of a sudden it's it's good to be big, it's good to be strong. We don't need you to be fast, we just need you to body someone.
Football has given me a lot of pride, a lot of joy, and a lot of purpose. I feel it's one thing I'm good at, so it drives me to excel in it.
I think early on, Alicia developed a mindset that she could do whatever she put her mind to. Being a captain on the team and kind of dealing with other players who she grew up with. These are her best friends, her cousins. She grew with all these people, so she had a very short temper for people who didn't see things the way she saw them, which would cause a lot of on-the-field problems and off-the-field problems. So she's really had a lot of growth, especially this season. This season's been huge for her. Just in kind of working with the players, really helping them get to their highest point.
W.
It means a lot, I feel to me, and just to see everyone's growth mentally and just on the field too, football-wise. And to be a part of this is really, this history means a lot, and it brings me a lot of pride. Feels like I'm a mom,
Defense like who? Defense like who? And it sounds like who?
joined football, I definitely wouldn't be here where I am right now. My coach definitely helped me a lot through a lot of things, and I definitely wouldn't be who I am and where I am today if it wasn't for him.
There's nothing better I can think of to have someone like that pave this road for all these people coming up. She's such a good role model, and she's such a strong leader. She understands the impact that she's having for those ones coming after her, and even the ones that are with her. And yeah, I'm just so proud of who she is, everything she's been able to accomplish, everything she's went through. She's a special individual.
Yeah, so filming because of the game was difficult. I was not prepared for how crazy football is to film. When you bring a 100mm lens to a football game, you expect to get some good stuff, but trying to keep track of a target with that while you're running was very difficult. But I think it actually came together pretty well, because that hecticness kind of comes through when you film that stuff, so you're showing how the player's feeling at the same time, which is kind of what cinematography is all about. It's really about showing your audience what your subject is feeling and going through, and I think that really came through with the cinematography and because of the game.
This past year, producer James Farnan recognized that the internet loves cats. Armed with this knowledge, he discovered Gary the cat, a slope-shredding feline. This story received the highest level of engagement with our Facebook audience, and for good reason. Let's check it out.
When people see Gary on the ski hill, I'd say they're pretty happy, especially now he's a little bit more well-known. Even people who don't know who he is, you get lots of smiles just having a cat on the hill. I actually didn't have any pets really growing up. When I met my current partner, who's Gary's mom, she already had him and our other cat, Carl. And yeah, so I kind of have evolved into the crazy cat man I am today. Gary hasn't always been this adventurous. He was always very curious, though, about being outside. So we decided if he wanted to go out, he'd have to walk on a leash. And now he walks and he hikes and he skis. I've created a bit of a monster. If I don't take him out enough, he gets a little bit upset with me. I started posting photos to his Instagram, mostly because there's only so many photos of a cat you can send to your friends before they ask you to stop. So it was just a way for me to kind of have some fun on social media and document the progress that we made. And people really like cats in the mountains, it turns out. And so he's blown up far beyond anything I'd ever expected. Gary's a fairly cooperative model, I would say. He doesn't always look at the camera, and sometimes he's got his own mind about what he wants to do. So I do take a lot of photos, and you got to weed out the ones that didn't work to find the ones that are worth posting. I think Gary and I's relationship has grown as we've done more adventuring. I think we both have to trust each other a lot to do some of the things that we do, particularly I would say skiing. Like, you've got to be really in tune with your cat and understand what they need and what they want to be able to do this sort of thing. So it's been great, I think, just kind of building that relationship over the years that we've been going out. Adventuring with a cat requires a lot of patience. It took us, I would say, probably a year to work up to a point where Gary knew how to follow a trail. There's a lot of time involved. You've got to move on the cat's schedule, not on yours. There's, I think, a growing community of people who have cats and bring them out with them on their trips. We actually did one hike and we ran into 3 other people who had cats. But if you've got a cat and you're hoping to go outside with them, I don't recommend just stuffing Fluffy in a bag and hitting the slopes. I don't think it'll go well. These adventures are something that we've worked up to over a number of years.
Do you mind if I take a picture?
Thanks again. Have a great day.
Gary's in the house.
Oh, Gary. I don't know if Gary knows how famous he is. I will say he's always thought pretty highly of himself. So I'm not sure it's gone to his head any more than it already was.
Hey everyone, James here. You know, each project has its own set of challenges. In the case of Gary the cat, it was, of course, working with a cat. As cat's guardian, James Eastham, said, you have to work on the cat's schedule, not yours. At one point during the interview, Gary decided he didn't want to sit on James's shoulder anymore, so he got down and went for a walk. I followed him along and filmed it. Soon after, Gary was more than happy to get back on James's shoulder and finish the interview.
When producer Janis Gummeson met a Thunder Bay bodybuilder, she knew this was a story that would resonate with audiences. Last year, YouTube users viewed Love to Lift for more than 340 hours. That's a lot of bicep curls.
Once you've put the work in the off season, you know you've made some improvements to your physique, and then as the fat starts to come off and as you start to get leaner, it's like unwrapping a present. So it's like seeing all your hard work being uncovered as you go. I think I fell in love with bodybuilding back when I was subscribing to an old fitness magazine called Oxygen, and I used to love how the girls, how fit they looked. I was always into athletics, and anything to me that had a fitness look to it was always desirable. In thinking that I'm the only professional bodybuilder in the city right now, it was a large accomplishment, but it wasn't something that I set out to do when I first started bodybuilding. I did it because the stage somehow was just calling to me. I knew that I needed to try it, and then once I did it and received the judges' feedback and the judges' critiques, I knew that it was something that I had to go all in for. Knowing that I've put the work in and it's paid off, and I'm seeing the progress from coming into the gym, really having a goal, making sure that I was leaving nothing on the table, uncovering what I wanted to, setting goals, and then now that I can peel the layers away, I get to see what's under that, and that sense of accomplishment is huge. That, and then I love the stage. So getting on stage, being there that day in my sparkly suit and getting my hair done and getting that crazy tan on that we get, that is definitely the best part for me. The hardest thing about this and the biggest struggle, I would say, is not the gym portion, because if you really love to lift, coming here is therapy. The food is definitely the hardest part of it all. Dieting for this extended period of time, I really have had to dig mentally deep for sure. Finding a balance with bodybuilding in my life can be really hard at times, and other times it can feel pretty effortless. You know, once you get into a really good schedule, and if you can nail that down, every day kind of just starts to feel like Groundhog Day. And that's where you just thrive. You end up thriving in that. You're like, okay, repeat yesterday, because yesterday was a great day. And that's where the consistency piece really comes into play. So the more consistent you can be with bodybuilding, you're gonna reap the benefits that much more. I'm thankful because I have a lot of help in my life. I have a great family who's incredibly supportive. Without them, I would not be able to do this. My son is an athlete, you know, and I know he sees the dedication that goes into this. Both of my parents are, you know, more active now. And if that means a longer life for them, great. And if it means that my son understands that when you dedicate yourself to something, that you can see it through, that you should see it through, and that you can pursue your goals no matter how big or small, those are the positives that I take from this, for sure. I hope that people see that through me, you can pursue your dreams and they're not out of reach.
I've been involved in fitness and going to the gym for as long as I can remember. It's a huge part of my life. So when I was thinking of feature ideas, highlighting someone in our community that is committed to fitness and transforming their physique was something I really wanted to do. It has taken Lisa McLean years of hard work and sacrifices to become a professional bodybuilder, and I really enjoyed meeting her and hearing about her journey. It's always a great day at work when you get to learn about something you love and meet someone that is inspiring and following their dreams. I hope you enjoyed Lisa's story.
The most relatable Spotlight features connect with our viewers and strike an emotional chord that leaves a memorable and long-lasting impact. Voting for this year's Viewers' Choice Award drew in over 1,500 views from people in 22 countries across the world, including Morocco, Indonesia, and Peru.
I'm involved in it at a very local level here in Campbell River. Participated in the repair cafes here for about a decade. The community members here bring in items of all kinds for repair, and the challenge is to repair as many of them on the spot as possible without knowing in advance really what might be coming in. So we've had some successes and some failures of that.
Within a year, Matt became a mega rock star. That feeds his soul, his alien soul.
I wouldn't have necessarily picked to be on a stage in front of people, but once I'm up there, it could be thousands of people and you see people dancing and having a good time and reacting to the music, and it's a good feeling for sure.
Even though my wife is not here now, I feel that she might still be listening, and I love to sing that song, and I can visualize her smiling.
Producer Jonathan Valoroso of Prince George, BC, collected more than 60% of the votes and almost doubled the votes of the runner-up. So it's not difficult to see how Penny Slim captured the hearts of viewers all over the world.
Things have been a lot different without my wife, Olga. I still sing to her, and I hope she's listening. When I was very young, I guess about 5 years old, I used to sit in front of the record player and sing along with cowboys and stuff. That would be where I guess I really got attached to country music. My name is Clarence Boudreau, but my many fans call me Penny Slim. High up in the mountains, so wild and free, for so many years. I was born in 1931, and for those of you who can't do the math, I'm 91 years old. I was born in a small town called Penny. We actually moved into Prince George in 2011. I got the name Penny Slim from my son Larry, because I was born in Penny and because we had a nice hunting camp at Slim Creek on the Fraser River, and he figured Penny and Slim, the two go good together. It's stuck with me ever since. I've written about 70 songs, I guess, altogether. A lot of cowboy stuff and a lot of tearjerker songs, I guess, too. Some of the accomplishments I would have to say, I guess, when I won the Seniors Idol here in Prince George.
Coming round the bend, I ain't seen the sunshine, no since I don't know when.
When the crowd reacts, when they clap and holler, that makes you feel good. I dare say I don't recall ever hearing a boo, which is a pretty good sign, I think. Yeah, I guess one of my biggest supporters would definitely be my wife, Olga. And we lost her about 2 or 3 months ago. Okay, this is a picture of my wife, and we ended up being married for 70 years. There's one song I love to play for my wife, and it was called Have I Told You Lately That I Love You? Have I told you lately that I love you? And if I was playing that, say, in the other room, and she heard me start to play that, she'd come in and give me a big kiss. Even though my wife is not here now, I feel that she might still be listening, and I love to sing that song. And I can visualize her smiling. She was a big part of the reason that I won't stop playing, because she encouraged me. I used to say to her, you know, I think I'm going to give up. I think the singing is getting a little bit hard for me. And she said, don't you ever do that. Don't ever quit singing. Keep singing and keep your sense of humor. A lot of people that I know, they get quite miserable and cranky when they get old. And I don't want to ever be like that if I can help it. I want to keep smiling until I cash in. Yeah, I guess I'll keep on singing until eventually I'll be pushing up sting nettles. To my wife, I hope you're listening, that I really miss you and I love you.
Jonathan, we're rolling.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't help it. It was just so pretty. Can we do that again? Clarence is one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life. He has touched so many people in the community with his witty sense of humor, his positive attitude, and his talent. And to check off all those boxes at over 90 years old is incredible. He even has a significant following in Mexico, which is awesome. It was such a pleasure to do my part to share his story with the world and be included on the list of many people whose lives he has changed. This award is for Clarence just as much as it is for me, and I had to make sure he knew that.
And we just finished the Screen Awards, and I wanted to let you know that your feature won. That's everyone giving you the applause that you deserve, and I just want to let you know that you made everybody cry. Yep.
Thank you so much, Clarence. You deserve it, buddy.
The Best Feature category recognizes excellence across a variety of skills, such as technical ability and creativity. This year's winner, The Repair Cafe, was produced by Dan Peruzzo from Campbell River, whose feature resonated with a panel of judges as it demonstrated skill by combining a well-told story with beautiful visuals that fostered awareness and thought.
Still waffling, or are you getting ready to order?
I think I'd like to have this.
Ah, excellent choice. Coming right up.
Excellent.
physicist by academic background, but what I'm really doing these days a lot is repair of just about any electrical or electronic appliance anyone brings my way. How I got into doing repairs, really I've been doing them since my childhood, since maybe I was 11 or 12 years old. My parents had busy medical careers and neither of them were really technically inclined. Somehow I was. So I've been tinkering with all kinds of electrical things since I was pretty young. It was pretty clear that my career would take me in that direction, and I started taking things apart a few years before I was actually able to put them back together. I'm involved in it at a very local level here in Campbell River. I've participated in the repair cafes here for about a decade. The community members here bring in items of all kinds for repair, and the challenge is to repair as many of them on the spot as possible without knowing in advance really what might be coming in. So we've had some successes and some failures of that. What really often happens is afterward I end up bringing some of the items home to fix. Which is fine too, because the real objective is to keep them out of the waste stream. About 20% of our greenhouse gas emissions come from manufacturing processes. Many have a lot of toxic output as well, and then there's the waste stream itself. Just about every community is coping with growing amounts of landfill that can lead to toxicity issues and so on. I've seen a lot of cases where manufacturers have intentionally used very rare fasteners, unusual screw heads on screws and things like that to prevent people from taking that item apart and repairing it. It's almost an obscenity to me. I have a chapter in a book that I'm writing called The Horror of Planned Obsolescence. It's a moral fault to basically plan on their products having a short lifetime. I get to talk to a lot of senior executives who will acknowledge that their products are designed to only last a short period of time and to not be repaired. We really are ruining the world for, for our children and their children and so on. It doesn't have to be that way, and I think through concepts such as improved modularity, where components can be replaced more easily, a little more thought to the future, some of that can be avoided, so that's one of my hopes. The right to repair movement and that issue, I'm glad to see is getting a lot more prominence. I think there are really good prospects to basically put the responsibility back onto the companies making these items to make them last longer as well as to make them repairable. Just about every appliance in our household is recovered and repaired junk. That's everything from our refrigerator through to washer and dryer, microwave oven, even the vacuum cleaner. It's all repaired, recovered stuff. I'm not sure really that people even know that it is possible to get a lot of items repaired or to even do it themselves. Most repairs are easy, just with a little bit of learning in what to look for and how to fix things. There's a large fraction of the things that get thrown out that could have been very easily repaired. Yep, it's working. Successful repair. I think once people are aware that they can bring their items in for repair and it costs nothing, it will also really grow the awareness in the community of the possibility of having things repaired. And I think the right number is about 4 a year. If we get enough people thinking about repair and getting things repaired and doing repairs, it really can make a huge difference in the world.
Hi, I'm Dan. You see this light bulb here? I bought this the other day. You know how long it lasted me? About 2 seconds. Put it in, done. I'm like, and I've got many other examples around the house, as you may as well, like a stove, a computer, you name it. Things that we buy die far sooner than they need to. That is what's called planned obsolescence. It's a thing, it's real, it's filling up our landfills, it's killing our environment, and it needs to be addressed. I find that some people don't take serious things serious. So I did this piece just a little bit differently, added a little bit of an entertaining splash to it. A little bit of laughter, a little bit of fun, just to, you know, lighten it up a bit. I had a lot of friends and family and other people that are interested in this topic help me out, create these great sequences to bring a little more awareness to the Repair Cafe, because I think the Repair Cafe is just an amazing thing. Get it working again, give it to a friend, give it to a family member, and let's keep it out of the landfill. This just does not need to carry on, and, you know, we need to do something about it, because that's no good. Ah, dang, that's recyclable. Ah, that didn't work out so well.
Thank you for celebrating the latest Spotlight Screen Awards with us. We want to take a moment to congratulate all the nominees and acknowledge the work of the entire Spotlight team who craft stories that celebrate and engage individuals like yourself all year long. To view the full version of the nominations and other compelling stories from across our network, visit shawspotlight.ca, and to stay up to date with the latest, please follow us on social media. Thank you.
Now suck her up. She's coming, take her up.
It's the first on-girls Indigenous football team in Canada, and that's like factual.
When I was very young, I was just about 5 years old, I used to sit in front of the record player and sing along with cowboys and stuff.
Just about every appliance in our household is recovered and repaired junk. Everything from our refrigerator through to even the vacuum cleaner, it's all repaired, recovered stuff.
Hello and welcome. Other way. Do you want me to start? Ah, too fast.
I felt like you blinked really hard right at the very end. So other than that, I thought it was perfect.
I feel like I was a lot of eyebrow heavy on that one.